You know.
Oh yeah. This gotta plug this in. Gotta plug this in. Gotta plug. Plug this in. Gotta plug this in. Gotta plug. Didn't stop the background noise. Oh no, maybe my headphones are just a little too high up in the gain. And if I talk louder, it makes me feel so sane. 'Cause I know what I'm saying and I'm saying it loud. Welcome everyone to this episode of Formlessness podcast. This is a special episode, I think. This is something that it's because my mic is up too high. That's what it is. It's up at it was at freaking a 9 instead of 7. Guys, I can't believe that. That is so I mean, that's just so insane. Listen, this is a special episode I think I'm releasing right now. I was intending for it to be this. Yes, this is the show. This is the podcast. Formlessness. The show. And it is just regular old me and being happy and funny. But man, there's some stuff that I really want to talk about. And there's several episodes that are kind of already in the works. Next week's episode is going to be one that I recorded with my mom. It's great. It's really fun and really great. I'll say this in that episode as well, but I'll say what I was going to say in that episode only, and I'll say what I want to say in this episode now. Does that make sense? Wait. Yes. Okay. So. I want to share the story of the last few days with you and the meaning of the themes that have arisen in my life and that are arising in this whole world of ours. This is a time that things are really, really, for me personally, becoming clear and intense, and I don't know, I feel like a very clear understanding of the context that I play a role in here in our world right now, with what's going on. And I feel like for the past 7 years and 7 years and 8 months, I've been in certain ways physically committed to this new reality that is now becoming kind of a constant for everyone. And a lot of the things that people are going through and that are coming up for all of us right now are things that I have been in contact with, feelings, lifestyle stuff, ways of identifying. All this stuff is it's exciting because I feel like I have a place in this world and I have a way to connect that I can really understand the full pathway of, which is something I've been really trying and looking forward to and looking for a long time. I've been really trying to function and to provide this podcast and the other things that I feel inspired to do. I've been trying to provide them to people in a way that can be ingested and valued and genuinely good for people. So that's this, and this is that, and so I'm recording this episode right now from a hotel in Glendale, California. I've been here in Los Angeles since Sunday, And I have been spending a lot of my time in different parts of the city talking to people and being outside during the coronavirus and during the lockdown and during the quarantine and during the fear and during all this stuff. And I've had several experiences that are really, 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 really life-changing, and that have kind of provided themselves as metaphors to just information and understanding of the way things are in ways that I hope I can translate for you guys and you girls and you non-binary entities. Right? Funny? Being funny? Oh, it's being funny still? All right. So, what I want to talk about today first is the fact that this virus is being shown to all of us through, well, I don't know. What I want to talk about is body language and how it's very, very apparent to me, and this is something that, oh man, my mind's moving so fast, and I'm I'm judging myself really because I want to make this be coherent, but I'm causing that to make a level of constructed identity happen inside of my mind, so I can't really flow completely in my words and just let things out in a steady pace. And with all of the things that come with a steady pace, like, good rhythm and a nice tonality, and finishing all of my thoughts. My thoughts are moving so fast and my mind is moving so fast that I can saying the first part of every thought and then moving on to the first part of the next thought without finishing the second part of the first thought, and then being on the third thought. By that time, I'm done talking about the second part of the first thought. And then the second part of the second thought is actually a 4-part thought, it turns out. And so, yeah. Well, this is a bonus episode for sure. It's not going to be tied to a season or episode number. This is part of season 3, but it's bonus. This is a special bonus episode to address some things that are extremely, extremely important for all of us to be engaging with and be aware of and be making active decisions around. And that kind of stuff has to do with what the spiritual and thematic meaning of this coronavirus is, and what is actually happening. The coronavirus is a representation of what is going on with us collectively that exists as something in the collective that we can all agree is happening from all the different points of perspective that every human who understands what the coronavirus is has. That's how the collective consciousness works. It is comprised of the concepts and functionings and workings of all the stuff that everyone from their own completely choosable and potentially, at the beginning of the day, everyone is their own point of reality, and there's no limitation on that. But most people are living with that point of their consciousness inside of the collective, whereas the collective itself is made from the people who expand their own points of perception and create constants that everyone can agree on, which is the collective. But anyway, this coronavirus is a representation of the fact that we must integrate the knowledge as all humanity that emotional intelligence replicates life in our bodies, and processing and opening clear, conscious understandings of our emotions and their motives is what regenerates energy. The past paradigm is something, and this goes back to what I was talking about before about what my life experience has been. It's been extremely difficult for me to function and understand and develop relationships and interact with other people, because I think I've been in certain ways completely committed. I don't know what it is, my soul, my body, my consciousness, something about myself is living in this paradigm of understanding this only, and has not been able to kind of interact in this other way, which I'm finally being able to actually have a perspective on that I think is real. And that is the fact that so much of humanity and going back, this thing that was created from the story of Adam and Eve leaving the Garden of Eden, that disconnect of identity is what has built so much of human evolution. And that basically is something that suggests that you should have an identity that is concrete and unchanging, and live in that as a measure of safety and security and validation for your existence. And there's a lot of different angles to this, and there's a lot of different things, and of course all the logistics and all the physical elements are worth addressing for the people that feel called to do that and feel like that's their area. I definitely don't mean to discount any other areas of service or reality to this stuff. I just want to express my perspective and the information that I feel like I have within me that needs to be shared with people to help. And that information is based on, it's that information. It can be found in what I've been saying and what I have said and what I am saying right now, and what I'm continuing to say, and I'm doing my very hardest, best, and softest worst to keep things really linear, and that's not possible, and that goes into playing into what I was just saying, which is like that kind of linearity is what begets or is begetted by concrete identity / or aka ego. And what's happening now is that is not allowed to function. That period is over for all of us. And what is left is engagement with the present moment and understanding of your awareness as present moment. This is what is being basically poured down on every single point of awareness, every single person. Like a weight, like a freaking bucket of compressed water that's just like this is all that you can experience. Everyone is being jolted into the present moment constantly, and is constantly, for the most part, people are constantly fighting this and constantly derealizing themselves from this and trying to live back in their security and not acknowledge what's happening. And that's creating all of this fear and anxiety, which then gets manifested in the collective as a virus, which is used to wake people up to the fact of what's going on, that you can't run away from your own awareness and your own feelings and sensations of the moment, and you can't control or manipulate those sensations. You must feel who you are in the moment. And the way that's kind of, for the most part, one main aspect of this. The other aspect of this is the fact that society, interpersonal relationships, resources, the function of our entire reality globally now depends on true positive conscious energy exchanges without any ulterior motives, without any interest in self-gain. The only thing that functions is the gain of all people. Not the gains. Get on those gains, guys. Go to the gym, you freaking midges. Something, yeah, gym backwards spells midge. This is another tangent, but all this stuff that I've been interested in for like the last 3 or 4 months of like finding these parallels between words, English words that spell or phonetically sound like interesting opposites of their meaning when they're backwards. This plays into, I mean, this is where we are. We're in nonlinear reality as the basis of the structure of our planet, and that means that nothing can function when there is some sort of interest in creating energy blocks between resources or information. And a lot of the experiences that I've had here in Los Angeles talking to people for the past few days have made this not only extremely clear and just infinitely validating to me in my own experience and my own relationship with the universe, but has also devastated me beyond anything that I've ever experienced before due to the complete instant learned choice by the almost overwhelmingly total of people to cut off their energy and resources immediately and disconnect from engagement with people and relationships as soon as any sort of this kind of thing gets presented to them in a real way. Sure, people might like to talk about, helping people and social change and stuff, but the reality is we all must make these decisions in a real, actual way in our lives when we're presented with that opportunity. What I'm saying is like the energetic fuckery that happens in this almost everyone that I talk to, as soon as money gets brought up or as soon as any implication gets brought up that like there's imbalance in money, the energy fucking gets just blocked so hard and in a way that is so harmful just for me physically, energetically. It's crazy. And the other part of the devastating aspect of this is seeing and talking to the people who are living on the street and living without resources and seeing the extent of their suffering and that combined with realizing the reality that we're faced with and for me feeling like a very clear understanding of knowing the shift that needs to happen. It's been really, really intense. So I'm going to tell a story right now about something that happened to me like 3 days ago and play a little clip of an interview that I got from a man that I met. So I flew here on Sunday and it was raining really hard and I didn't have any plans really or any place to stay, but it was raining so hard I started like getting hypothermia as I like to say, and getting very cold as other people like to say, and being a bitch as other people like to say. So I got a hostel and the only hostel I could find was in Venice Beach. So I got a hostel there. This was 4 days ago, but got a hostel there, spent the night, woke up, and went outside and walked to the epicenter of Venice Beach. And holy shit, this was, see, what I'm talking about now was 4 days ago. What I was talking about a second ago was actually 5 days ago. And the story that I'm trying to tell was actually 3 days ago. Which was the second day that I walked out onto Venice Beach. And kind of circling back to something that I touched on a lot earlier in this episode, is the fact that I have been living and developing my strength and skill and perception and pathways of existing in this new dimension of physical reality that we are in. I've been living in this and doing this with all of my possible integrity and intention and energy and shit for years and years now at this point, and going through a whole lot of hard things, and being very just freaking be love, give me love. But anyway, so I'm walking down Venice Beach, and I feel very, I know now that this is the time where this stuff exists for all people. And what that is the fact that I put my energy into existing in the present moment, and my skills into engaging with people in the present moment without being caught in a story or way of viewing myself that limits the possibilities of what that interaction could be. So I've been walking. I for 2 days went to Venice Beach and just sat there and walked there and acknowledged everyone that passed by, and waited for some experience to manifest for me. And this experience manifested on the second day when I went and sat at the kind of circular area of Venice where traditionally the street performers would go, and kind of, right where all the best stuff happens. And the only person who was in a state of consciousness to come up to me without hesitation or anxiety was this man who was, I think my age or younger, wearing, he was wearing green plaid pajamas and a light black windbreaker that had white paint on the lower right side, saying something, words that were cool and artistic, but I can't recall them. He had short dreads and a scraggly beard, and he walked right up to me and asked me if I had any food, which I did. I had a bag of goldfish and almonds and blackberries, which I had finished, the blackberries, which was the food that I had bought for myself with the last of my money for that day. And interestingly, I had been offering food to a lot of people during the earlier parts of the day. And I was kind of shocked at how no one wanted it. I saw a guy who was digging through the trash cans, multiple trash cans, and I offered him my food and he turned it down. Several other homeless people, even a girl who was lying on the sand, almost naked, seemingly very near death. It took a lot of coaxing for me to get her to accept my half drank aloe vera water because she looked so thirsty and dehydrated. But anyway, this guy needed food and happily accepted my food and started eating it immediately. And the tone of his voice and his way of communication was like a breath of fresh air to me, because it was genuine and connected to the reality of the moment without any layers of identity or manipulation or anxiety that so many people, everyone basically has right now in bucket loads. Generally speaking, everyone. Anyway, he accepted the food. I asked him if he wanted to sit down next to me and smoke this joint that I had gotten from another man, the first man I offered food to, who rejected my goldfish. He was holding a sign in front of the long line of cars, the extremely long and slow-moving line of cars outside of the Starbucks on, I don't know, some street. Everyone just freaking sitting in their car on their phone, wearing a freaking mask for hours and hours, waiting for their fucking Starbucks. But that man holding the sign, asking for money and food, was he turned down my goldfish, saying that I looked like I needed them, and he gave me such a generous amount of very high quality weed, after saying, you made sure to smoke your morning bowl, right? And I said no. And then he gave me this. Wow, what an amazing person. Holy shit. Anyway, this guy sat down next to me. We started smoking this joint. I started talking to him. I noticed that his forearms and hands were very bloated, and his skin was I keep being at a loss for words of how to describe this, but just like so rough and hardened from the elements that it was like like hide, I guess. His fingernails were extremely long, but his sentience and clarity in speaking, and his body language and his understanding of context was so immaculate. It truly, we just were able to connect fully, immediately, with no barriers. I started talking to him and asking him about what the difference, his life, the difference between his life a week ago and his life today with this coronavirus. And he told me that it was really, really hard to find food and to get food. And then I asked him if he needed anything else, and he said that if he could use my phone for a few minutes, that would be extremely helpful to him. So I gave him my phone, and he immediately started focusing on the phone. And then a really amazing and magical thing happened with a couple of other people who congregated during that time. And I did my best to facilitate kind of a connection between these strangers who were like, whenever I was talking to there was like these two guys. Whenever I was talking to one of them, they would be engaged, but then they would try and take all of the attention. And then when it was time for the other one to be a part of the conversation, they couldn't connect. They were too uncomfortable to connect with each other, only through me. So that was an interesting thing to like try and balance. But anyway, this guy sitting next to me, my friend, using my phone, was kind of just completely absorbed, and so I kind of forgot about him and got caught up in that situation. And then those other two guys left, and I had been kind of openly interviewing both of them. And so when they left, I turned back to this guy and asked him if I could interview him. Just saying that to me opens the door for asking the questions that I actually, or finding the questions in myself that I actually want to ask, even though I already had kind of been talking to him. This is a interruption to play this part of the interview that I recorded on my phone with this guy. What you have been listening to is one full episode that I did in one take, where I wasn't sure if I should play this because I want to respect this person. But I think that hearing you after I play this, I'll cut back into what I've recorded earlier, and you'll hear me explaining my perception and experience of this after the fact. But this should be heard. I don't know. Here, I'm just going to play this. This is like a certain point I started recording. This is not from the beginning of our conversation. Yeah.
Which is not so much fun to talk about because it just, puts pressure on you, but also, it's annoying to ask people all day for stuff.
Yeah.
It's an inconsistent way to work. Get paid too. Well, it's not being paid, but you know what I mean?
Right. To what are you doing? How would you describe what you're doing?
Different stuff comes along. Specifically, I do artwork too.
What's that?
I do artwork too that gets paid decently.
Yeah.
When I can do that. So,
What mediums?
All kinds of different mediums. Depends on what I'm into at the time or what format is being asked of me. I like design work. Decent at serious stuff and not so serious stuff.
Yeah.
People commission me before for stuff. Like shops or websites or murals. Move around a lot though, so
How did they like commission you? How did those things happen?
They just see you drawing somewhere usually, and they say I have a space I want you to do something with, or I'd like your work somewhere, or I have an idea that I don't know how to implement myself.
Yeah. Nice.
So it becomes like freelance.
Yeah.
I like doing it better in person than trying to do things online.
Me too. I only come across normally in person. Like, I work that same way with what I do.
I said, fuck it, I'm gonna be the Joker. Y'all good shit.
How has your perspective on life and people and reality changed since you had like a structured life? Or did you ever?
It's hard to say. My perspective changed in that, I don't know, LA is just different. Sometimes people aren't nice here when they're expected to be, and that's different about LA. In New York City, people look like they don't care, but it's a different kind of not caring. I don't know, when I'm just walking around New York City doing stuff. Here in LA, when you're walking around doing stuff, they really do not care. But that's not really what I mean. Like, it's a different kind
That's
of,
okay.
different look, different attitude. People care. People also are very kind here and help. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Who you guys?
I like it.
From Buckman.
Good weather a lot of the time.
Where you guys from?
Wait, what'd you say about time?
I like the weather here.
Yeah. That's why I'm here too.
How about you? What's your opinion of the city? Basically, that sounded pretty negative, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I feel you.
Or do you like it?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've been here 2 days. I
Mhm.
wanted to come here. I've lived here. I went to school here for a semester. I lived here in my car for 6 weeks,
Yeah?
and I'm here now.
Hmm.
And I just feel like I've never been able to connect.
You never have what?
I've felt the same thing that we're talking about, where like people like
There's probably,
they don't care about connection in real life to
there's a housing
degree.
crisis in this city and probably also a job crisis.
yeah.
Especially probably for people who haven't been working the same job for a long time. Or just getting out of school or something, moving to the city.
Okay.
Probably people with lighter skin too. Have trouble finding work
I don't.
at this point.
This is not what I'm trying to do, though. This is what I mean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do like what we're doing right now.
Mm.
You know, and I think that this moment is really, it's a crazy time, and it's a great time where things really are just moving forward constantly
Mm.
in everyone's lives, and that is, there's always possibilities that are new.
Mm.
And I just want to be cool as a person
Mhm.
and an artist and have my basic needs met,
Right.
so I don't have to go through all these hard things.
Right. A lot of people could use an easier time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably comes down to morals.
Yeah. LA is great for like, it's sensitive to energy, but it's insensitive to humanity
Mm-hmm.
or physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, a lot of people feel like it's not their job to process everything.
Right.
And they're constantly like choosing not to. They're just doing like all this shit that's like so like dumb and irreverent. And all these layers of ingenuinity. And I'm not trying to judge,
Oh yeah.
but like, fuck, it's gotta change.
Hey, Princess, what's your name?
It's gotta change.
Picture.
Hey, sir, you couldn't spare $1, could you?
Your donation. You said what?
But I'm really here because I like doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's good possibilities for meeting people and having these experiences.
Money. Where you guys from? Right. You give me money.
It's like these money fields need to be
Where you
open.
guys from?
Money needs to be equalized because like these guys have like probably a lot of money that they aren't using, that like it's just no big deal right anymore. Everyone knows that they're just a little human.
Right.
We don't have to trip so hard, like for real. We don't have to all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm saying. JK,
Okay.
JK, I'm just kidding around.
Would you be down to get something at the food truck?
There's a drone flying overhead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to move at this moment.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about where the food truck is?
Oh, it's right there, past the fire truck. It's got real good
nice. Nice.
food. They're not usually here during the day.
What?
They're not usually here during the day. I don't think so.
Oh yeah?
So I get
That's cool.
to take advantage of it while then.
Nice. I think I'm gonna stay here
Are you?
on this bench, yeah.
What would you be able to help me get something there? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. What do you need?
all of them?
Yeah, this episode is just kind of pieced together. That was really something to listen to for me, to listen to it back. I haven't listened to that yet. I don't know if I cut this in at the right point. I'm going to talk about the parts of this experience afterward. I don't know. If you're listening to this, you're probably interested already. So, yeah. I started talking to him about his life and trying to connect and understand him, where he was in the state that he was in now, and what his life was like before, or you know, I just tried to ask him, like, what was your life like a year ago? What was your life like 2 years ago? What was your transition period between these different lifestyles and whatnot? Like I, you know, asked him, like, what are you addicted to anything? What drugs do you do? What do you do with your time? And through this conversation, something happened energetically between us that I haven't experienced before, where the vertebrae in my neck started moving around as I was talking, and we both started crying. As this processing and coming to light of the fact that this person had become so distant from what it means to be a person, or so unseen as a human from everyone else's perspective for so long. And this is someone whose communication is so there, you know, like so sane, so smart, so intelligent, so aware. But this thing happened between us that I feel extremely compelled to talk about, but I don't really know how to really explain what happened, except for the fact that at a certain time that thing was over, even though the feeling wasn't over. And this guy asked me if I wanted to go to this taco truck and buy him tacos, which we had kind of talked about earlier in the conversation. And I said no, I was going to sit and stay, and I gave him the money he needed. And then he got up and stood next to me on the bench for like so many eternities, just standing there, kind of like moving with the wind like a tree, just forever and ever and ever and ever. Both of us just not moving, and me wanting to say that like he can stay here and stay connected. And then as soon as movement happened, he said, "Yep, I understand," and walked away. And then I sat there and started crying for ever and ever, and going through these processes of so much programming and stuff in me, trying to disconnect physically from that emotion and not embody it fully and not express it fully through my body, and being hit with different mental anxieties based on the people around me and their potential perspectives. And again, just like touching this guy, shaking his hand. When we were talking as well, I felt my hand like getting magnetized to his body, but I should have touched him more, but I didn't. And then I was crying and crying, and as soon as I let go truly into that feeling, I heard someone saying, "Are you okay?" And it was a couple who had approached me, and I told them that I had just had this experience with this guy, and the juxtaposition between my anxiety of having $60 to my name and not knowing where I was going to stay that night, juxtaposed with this person and their life and their, all the things that are that must have had, that was such a blow. I said to these people, and then. But it's just amazing. Like I said that, and then I said that kind of stuff first, and then I mentioned my situation. And as soon as I mentioned that, they also disconnected. As soon as I mentioned that, like, I don't have money, even though I don't do it with energy that's like projecting like victimhood or anything, for real. I'm just like with these people, I really made it very explicitly clear that I didn't want money from them, or didn't like I felt this kind of these feelings of not knowing what I was going to be or do, but also this is who I am, how I live, it's fine. I'm doing this very consciously by choice. But that just kind of circles back to this thing of like, that's always where the connection gets broken, and that needs to change between us all now. But this connection and energy transfer. I don't know what happened, what this meaning is between me and this person. I know that there was another guy sitting on this bench across from me, holding space for me as I cried. And he left at the time when I wasn't quite done crying, but I knew that this person had held space for me with their consciousness, just like I had held space for this guy with mine, and helped facilitate these emotions and these things coming to light from deep underground. Then I went on my phone. I had like 5 or 6% battery, and I recorded my screen as I backtracked through the history of the web browser on my phone to see what this guy had done. And he had been on Facebook mostly, but he had logged out, and so there was no information except for one thing on the first page or the last page he had visited, which was a post that he had made. I wasn't sure if I should read this or not, or not sure of like what the meaning of it is or anything. But right now I feel like I should just read it. I don't really remember. I kind of like skimmed through it or when it happened. So I'm just going to read this with no implication of anything. I don't know. So if anyone wants to give me insight onto this, please do. Okay. If anyone knows what this is too, I don't know if this is metaphorical or I don't know. So this says this guy gave me his name, and this name matches the first name of the person who's posted this post. So it's safe to assume that this is this guy. Okay, so here it goes. Oaxaca, which is spelled Oaxaca, National PSA. From your president, not dead at desk. Apparently we're shutting this shit down all week. Resources will be divided with survival challenge technique. Both Santa Monica Pier and Venice Beach Boardwalk are shut down due to fear and paranoia concerning coronavirus. Seems extremely legit. No other conversation topics other than the name of said virus. Holy Lord, where is Jesus? After my nuclear crisis walkout with the cheetah, chimps, air filter mask, apples, and spoiled ... milk, it's awkward between me and my people. Guys, people think this is still America. Donald Trump possibly back alive at desk feels bad for me with forced playing hard to get return date of US Gov being tentative 2025. Thanks to Flying Lotus and Hannibal Buress for helping me so very kindly like you ain't or didn't with Fly Low FM from Grand Theft Auto 5 being the new coolest reference to my shopping cart time travel dilemma since It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia dialed into the dial cart time wheel with Mac and Sweet D. Thanks to all survivors. Okay, no, hold on. It's being cut off, but I took a video, so I have to wait for me to understand how to get rid of this pop-up that's cutting out the text in the video before I can continue reading. I guess I could try and skim forward. There's a period where I panicked because I couldn't read the end of the post. I didn't know how to. Okay, here we go. Thanks to Flying Lotus and Hannibal Buress for helping me so very kindly like you ain't or didn't with Fly Low FM from Grand Theft Auto 5 being the new coolest reference to my shopping cart time travel dilemma since It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia dialed into the dial cart time wheel with Mac and Sweet D. Thanks all survivors and Valencia Chill Out support team for the assistance. Someone who is not a vampire should low-key make sure my real mom and sister's lives and bodies are unharmed by violence or hatred. Local man reacts, they stole my Superman suit. So now reading this, I remember that at the time when I first read some of this, I was very much hit with an idea that this reality really is not what the consensus says that it is. Yeah, I don't know. I feel the energy around this whole entire thing is so different and intense from anything that I've experienced before. I don't really know. I'd love some sort of feedback on this or anything. I'm going to end the episode here. I think what I'm going to do is end and then research some of this stuff in this post, and I might come back if there's more that I should say based on what I've researched. So maybe I'll see you, maybe I won't. Thanks for listening. New real episode on Monday. Bye, I love you. All right, I'm back. I looked up this guy on Facebook. His Facebook is public. He did not know I was recording during our conversation. He has all these posts that are similar to the one I read earlier here, and all these pictures of different little items all collaged together. He has been making regular posts. It seems he has 682 friends. All of the posts, well, this one has, some of these have one like, but in general all these have no interaction. I hope that I find an audience for myself for this episode, because I really want to hear other people's perspectives about this experience and yeah, but I'm going to share this guy's name because all of these posts don't have a single typo and are exactly written to the specifications of this person's conscious choices. And regardless of what dimension this person is from or anything, they need love, just like all of us do. And I really, really appreciate aspects of this being. So this guy's name is Sam Levitt, Samlevit. For me, he was the first person to pop up on Facebook.